How's everybody doing today? This is a difficult video already. I get a lot of requests for various subjects on my channel, mostly filming locations or go visit the grave of somebody, etc. And I try to do what I can, especially if I'm in the area. Today I'm in Milwaukee. I'm in Milwaukee for something else that I'm filming. But I get so many requests for something about Jeffrey Dahmer. And I don't know how to do that. I've done videos on Zodiac, Charles Manson, so I've done true crime before. Jeffrey Dahmer seems a little different in the fact that, well, for one, I was alive when it happened. I remember it. It seemed really fresh still, and especially, for the families of the victims, right? It just seems, I don't know. It's hard for me to explain how I'm feeling or thinking. But I'm going to show you a couple of Jeffrey Dahmer locations here in Milwaukee because I've gotten so many questions. And it's a fascinating subject. Serial killers are fascinating to people. But as I've always said, they're also dicks and cowards. And Jeffrey Dahmer fits into that category, in my opinion, and I think in most people's opinions. Took the lives of 17 innocent men and boys. And it's right on this street where he spent time with his grandmother here in Milwaukee. And just in this house, right up here, is where he murdered 3 victims and dismembered them and everything that what Jeffrey Dahmer did. And then we're gonna go somewhere else having to do with Jeffrey Dahmer. But I'm gonna show you his grandmother's house right now, okay? And yeah, he lived here for 3 years, like I said, and committed some horrible, horrible crimes here. I'll show you now. It's right up the street. Right there, that was Jeffrey Dahmer's grandmother's house. This one right here. So, after Jeffrey Dahmer left his grandmother's house, his grandmother was tired of him bringing home a young man and the foul smell that was coming from the house. He moved here, and the apartment building is no longer here, but I believe it was here where he committed 12 murders, it could be 11, I think it was 12 murders. He got it, now, for people who don't know the story about Jeffrey Dahmer, he got his start as a serial killer in Ohio. Then here in Milwaukee, went to the chocolate factory, and he developed, he was bipolar, psychotic obviously, but he was declared sane at his trial. What was I gonna say? He worked at a chocolate factory here in Milwaukee, but he moved to this building here. It's no longer here, and this is where he was finally caught. And I'll show you the lot where the building used to stand, right here. So the building used to stand right here, and it's gone now, as you can see. And there are plans, I believe, to put a public park or something, but nothing has come up. Like nothing's been put here. It's been empty. They demolished the building shortly thereafter. He was caught when people found out what occurred on that land right there. Now, don't quote me. I read the whole story again last night. I've known the story for years. I think it was the Ogden Apartments, and you can see here the building looks very familiar, very similar to the original one that was standing right here. This building here looks similar. Ogden? I'm not sure now. Yeah. Well, there's a sign for Ogden. I'm not sure. But it was right there. Now, I've got a few other locations for Jeffrey Dahmer here in Milwaukee, but just as I've been walking around, it's cold and creepy. I don't really ever say it's creepy, it's just, it just seems so new. Going out and doing Manson and Zodiac, you know, I feel for the victims of those crimes a lot. Of course, it seems easier to do those because they're so far in the past. Which doesn't sound right, actually, now that I say that. But still, I think you know what I mean. Jeffrey Dahmer is recent. So I'm going to go and I'm going to do something else that I want to do instead. Okay? And you're going to come along with me. So as you can see, I'm at a cemetery now, and there's a lot of other Jeffrey Dahmer locations, like I was saying earlier, in Milwaukee. I was gonna go to them, and I just decided I don't want to. And for myself, and I think for you, I think if you watch this video, you watch my channel, you know what I like to see and pay my respects. So I'm coming out here to this cemetery. Two of Jeffrey Dahmer's victims are here at this cemetery, and a lot of his victims, the burials are unknown, so it means the ashes were cremated, probably given to family. It's hard to say, but two of his victims are here. Probably his most famous victim is right here, and it's a sad, sad, sad story. 14 years old, what happened to this boy, and here he is. Konerak phone. Here he is, Konerak phone. Konerak was plied with alcohol and drugged by Jeffrey Dahmer. This is a tough thing to talk about, and he managed to escape, and he ran down the street, and two women spotted him. He was naked, and they called the police. Police came. Jeffrey Dahmer showed up too. Jeffrey Dahmer convinced the police that it was a lover's quarrel. Now remember, this is a hysterical, naked boy in the streets of Milwaukee. And the police escorted them back, I believe, to the apartments. and saw that nothing was strange was going on, and just attributed it to, a lover's quarrel. Jeffrey Dahmer was in his 30s at the time. Does that make any sense? Now, you can second guess the police all the time and for their investigations, for any type of investigation, and say, why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do that? And sometimes you know, like, they don't have the right clues. You know, you gotta, like, eventually they hopefully always do solve the crimes. But this seems kind of really obvious to me when there's a naked, drugged out kid on the street and a 30-year-old man's claiming that that's his lover, and then the police allow them to go. This poor kid. His ashes are here. His ashes are interred right here. This is called a niche in the wall there. And so I can't leave anything here at the gravesite. Somebody's already got a little flower up there for him, which is beautiful. So rest in peace, Konerak. He's right there. Right where that flower is there. Right there. Where am I pointing? Right there. So if you come to this cemetery, just ask at the front. They'll take you to Konerak's grave, which is right down there, right at the end there. And they'll show you where he is. They're really helpful here. And it's huge. You can hear my voice echoing. This is just one part. This is this mausoleum here. It's part of the main office here. And the cemetery grounds are huge. And now we're going to see another grave of one of Dahmer's victims. Dahmer was killed in prison justice, a few years after he was incarcerated. Prison justice. Okay, let's go. So here at Holy Cross, there's one more grave of one of Jeffrey Dahmer's victims, Curtis Strother. He was the 10th murder victim. And he's here, and he's going to be difficult to find looking around. But I want to see it, and I want you to see it, and I want us to pay our respects together. I can't stress how nice and sweet the people that work here are, the 3 people that I've dealt with. So kind, giving me directions and talking about the history of Milwaukee and the history of the case, you know, everything about it. And the amount of love and respect they have for the victims that are buried here is incredible and so heartening and so amazing to see and hear. Like, they really just, it affected the city, and the one lady was here when it happened. And she was telling me about, you know, the impact it had on the city. And, you know, it was like a scar on the city for so long. Milwaukee's a great city. It's not the city of Dahmer. Not at all. And, yeah, they're beautiful people that work here. I really enjoy talking to them. Now let's find Mr. Strother's grave together. After much help, this was so difficult to find. Like, beyond, the foreman of the cemetery came out to help me find young Curtis here, who was only 17 when he was murdered by Dahmer. They so helpful here. See the gentleman off in his truck there, came and helped me. And they have little, I'm going to show you. I don't want to lose myself again where I am here. But there's little, right here, the markers where the numbers go for the lots. So he had to dig about 8 of them into them to find the right numbers. This is an older cemetery, and they're sunken into the ground, so he was digging around them. We were walking around for a while, but I finally did manage to find Curtis. Thankfully. I'm glad I did. So here's Curtis's grave. My beloved grandson, I love you. Curtis Darrell Strawder. April 6, 1973, February 18th, 1991. If you ever want to come out and pay your respects to Konerak and Curtis, there's the office there. Come around to lot 54, block 54. And you can see that road jutting out. And go right across the street there. Curtis is just over there. And Konerak's in the mausoleum in the back on the wall. Yeah. It gets cold in Wisconsin. It's a long time outdoors, and I'm glad I did it. It was worth it, and it's hard. Okay. Peace to Konerak, peace to Curtis, peace and love to you. Thank you for watching. Peace out.